What's up, everyone? This is Bill with BLR Tuning. You guys know what time it is. Today's watch is the C3PO by Invicta. It's a Star Wars limited edition one with the gold with the clear case there and the rubber band. Really nice little watch. Anyway, today I got a little video for you guys. We're going to try to keep it as short as we possibly can. So this is our stealth LED kit for the naked bikes and sport bikes. I'll leave a link in the description below. I did do an install on the Kawasaki Z900. So I'll leave a link to that video below, and we show in detail how to install this kit on a naked bike, or at least give you an idea as to where we suggest putting the lights. Okay, keep in mind these do use 3M, so as long as you use the alcohol wipe and the alcohol prep pad, you can ultimately put these lights wherever you want. But we're going to show you how we designed it and how we want it to look. So today we're going to be installing on a 2010 CBR 1000 BLR. So I'll get this opened up. I'll show you what all comes in the kit. We'll put the price up on the screen, and you guys will be able to go purchase it straight from our website or our Etsy shop. There'll be links in the description below to go purchase it. Okay, so here you can see everything laid out. It does come with instructions for your remote, your wireless remote, how to change colors and turn it off and all that. So we have 16 super bright, completely waterproof, dustproof RGB lights. You got some 9-inch. You get some 6-inch and 13-inch lights. We do have some extension wires so we can get from one spot to another. We have plenty of different adapters. So like this is a 2-way splitter. You got some 3-way splitters. You have a couple 8-way splitters. So we can pretty much mount this on any bike and be able to get everything installed. You may not use everything that's in the kit, and that's fine. We wanted to make this so it covers a whole range of different sport bikes and naked bikes. So you got a mountain of zip ties. You won't even probably use all of those. So the way the harness works, this female bullet connector here is going to be for the ground coming off of the module. So this is the module, and it does have some dual locked Velcro sticky tape on the back, so you can remove it if you're needing to work on the bike. And then it goes grounded to chassis. And then you can hide this switch wherever is convenient for you to hide it. It's going to depend on what bike you're doing this on, to determine where you want to install the switch. The switch kills power completely. So when the switch is off, power is killed completely. You don't got to worry about this draining your battery or anything like that. And when the switch is on, the lights will come on to whatever you had them at last, because it does have a memory built into the box, into the module. So if you have them blue flashing or red flashing and you turn the switch off, it don't matter how long it sits, when you turn it back on, they'll come back on to that red flashing or blue flashing that you had it set at. And then you can use a remote to change colors. This remote works for about 35-40 feet away. You can change colors, you can do strobing, you can make it so it's breathing in and out. You can hold down the A button to adjust the brightness up and down, hold down the B button to adjust the strobing effect. Faster or slower, or different combinations of strobing. It does come with a QR code in the box and instructions telling you how to install the lights. Use an alcohol wipe to clean the surface, and then a primer wipe. So you'll use the alcohol wipe, let it sit for 60 seconds, and then come through with your primer wipe, let it sit for 5 minutes. Then install your LED lighting, peel off that 3M backing, install that, run your wiring, zip tie everything out of the way. All the wires in here are labeled for your connections as far as your electrical. So to chassis ground, you got to negative to module, positive to battery. It does have an inline fuse. It does come with an extra fuse in the box. And then you also have your negative to switch. So really nice setup. I'll put the price on the screen here. Again, there's a link below to go purchase. I'll show you what the CBR 1000 looks like that we're doing the install on. And then we're going to take off all the plastics. There's lots of videos out there showing how to remove the plastic. I'll even include a video that I did of us building this bike in the link below, or in the description below the video. And of course, you'll get some decals from us. We always throw in as much decals as we can, as we have available. At the end of the video, we'll show you the end result, what this bike looks like at night with all the lights on. This is the 2010 CBR 1000 BLR that we're going to be working on. This is the one that we built on the channel. It's my son's bike. So you can see it's got the nice race plastic. We did do the tuning on this as well. So if you have any questions about custom tuning, we tune pretty much anything that's EFI, and we will soon be ECU flash tuning as well. Okay, so this is what we're going to be doing our install on. We're going to first remove the side fairings and front fairings, so we'll remove all that. And then we're gonna figure out where we want our lights, kind of test fit everything, figure out where we want them. We're gonna make sure that we clean those surfaces. And then we will start looking for our wire routing, where we can wire everything in. Where did we decide we're putting the switch on this one? So on this bike, we found this little shroud sitting here. It's just a little piece of plastic. We can put our switch inside there, and it's not anywhere near your knees or anything when you're riding. It'll be easy to reach down and get to this and flip it on and off. So I think that's where we're gonna go with for our switch on this bike. So like I said, this kit's gonna cover all different sport bikes, so you're gonna have to decide, first thing first is decide where you want that switch to be. You know, make it sure that you can sit on the bike and flip it on if you want to. You can completely hide it and make it to where you can only turn it on by removing the seat, but I don't really like that idea. You know, on this setup, we want to do it so you can flip it on when you're riding if you wanted to. Okay, so we will get this all apart, and then we will show you guys as we go where we're putting the lights and how we're running the wiring. Okay guys, we just kind of wanted to show you where we're at here on the CBR 1000. So we've ran our wire and we have our module up here. This whole seat area on the CBR stays open because this seat gets bolted in. So you don't have rubber stoppers sitting down up against anything. So we're going to utilize this whole space to have all of our wiring. So all of our wiring needs to come up into here. So your first step is going to be to locate where your switch is going to go. I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so you can see on the left-hand side here, we have this little shroud, and we're just utilizing that. So you can see our switch is right there. Up is on, and back is, or down is off. Okay, and then we ran our wire up and along with the rest of the wire harness, zip tied up everything that we could. We found a ground wire right down inside here, and that's what we used. Okay, and that's our ground for our spade terminal that we're using. And then, so the first step, run your wire for your switch, figure out where your switch is gonna be, get it back here to the area that you're gonna put your module. Then figure out where your module is gonna get mounted and tuck all that wire out of the way. Then start running your lights and just start plugging each one in. So you can see we have an 8-way splitter here, and we have each one plugged in. We have 2 of these 8-way splitters in the package. So very, very easy to get everything plugged in up here. Like I said, we have Y splitters, we have 3-way splitters, we have extensions, so you shouldn't have any issues getting everything up to where you need to get it to. Then our first set of wire, so we still got to tuck this wire back behind here and zip tie it out of the way. But we have a light that's stuffed back here, and it's on this plastic, but it is stuffed back in there. And then we have some that are under the swing arm. As you can see, we ran under the swing arm, and we carefully manipulated our wire up out of the way. We have that on both sides. So it really lights up the ground and the rim, so it looks really good. Okay, and you can see his exhaust is real tight, that Yoshimura exhaust, but that gives us enough room to where our light is not touching the exhaust. I know it looks like it might be to you, but we ran a heat cycle through it and it's working fine. Okay, so that'll be the one thing you need to make sure you're aware of is how hot things get. You know, maybe run a heat cycle, feel the areas where you're thinking about putting lights. If it's hot that you can't touch it, it's probably too hot for the light to be there. Okay, so then let it cool down and figure out a new plan if you need to. But anyway, so I just wanted to show you guys the progress. We'll continue on. We're working from the back to the front. So right now we have our back lights that we're going to install. We're going to work on some mid-section, probably on the fairings, and make the fairings so that way you would plug them in before you take them off or before you put them back on. So they'll just plug in and all the lights will be on the outside fairing on the back side of it. So now here is the part we're going to be doing with the fairing. So this is the top of the fairing. This plastic trim right here sits just in front of the radiator, underneath the whole front cowl and front windscreen area, all that underneath the headlight. So we want to light that area up. So we have a 9-inch here. Then we ran our wire over and back through here, up to here. We have a 13-inch that we're going to utilize right here on this back side. So when you're looking at the plastic, you would be able to see lighting here, but you won't see it here until it's turned on. It'll glow. But also this area here has that heat protective on it. This area gets hot. Okay, so we want to avoid this section if we can. And then we have a 9-inch running back here to hopefully light up any gaps that are in the plastic back here from the back. Okay, and then we have them all zip tied up and coiled up and stuffed under here so they're not going to hang down. This is, we're running on one of our 3-way splitters right there. And now we have that guy where it can plug in to the bike. So when we uninstall this fairing again, or ever have to work on the bike, we know that all we got to do is unplug this one plug and this fairing comes off. And I'll show you what it looks like at the bike. The bike, we have ran our 8-way splitter that we have sitting up here where everything's kind of meeting up at. We have one of our 40-inch extension wires, which you'll find in the kit. And the 40-inch runs down and it is zip tied along the main wire harness. And then it comes out right here. You have these little tabs. That's what the plastic attaches to. So we have our wire coming out. This will all be behind the plastics. And now here's where we're going to be able to plug in to our fairing. So anytime we take our fairing off, we'll just unplug this. Fairing comes off with no issues. You don't got to remove any of our lighting or anything like that. Okay, so you can see how the fairing sits up here. And then we have, so you see how the fairing sits up here. Our bolt hole is lined up. So this is exactly where it's going to sit. Obviously, it gets bent down a little more once everything's full tuck. And then, you know, it'll get mounted up in the windscreen area, that fairing up there. So it'll pull up, suck up just a little more than what it is. But you can see our switch, very easy to get to. That's what we talked about on that fan shroud. When we flip this on, I've got it set to green. I think that'll show up pretty good on camera here. So you can see it's going to light up this whole engine bay area here. It's going to light up this area here because we have that long 13-inch strip right back behind here. So you can see how that looks. And then when we come up in here, you can see this whole area gets lit up because we have that one that's in the front of the radiator, which you have to really look for, but there you can see the light right there. But from any angle you're standing looking at this bike, you will never see that light. Or any of them that are in here, you can see how that's glowing green there. Might have a little flicker just because of the camera, but you can see how that's glowing green there. So that's why we didn't go with any down inside there, because you would actually be able to see the light and it might look kind of weird. And we wanted to use those 3-way splitters and keep it as clean as possible. So now when you take this off, you're just going to pop it off and unplug. That's just holding it up. You just pop it off. You can see our splitter, our little splitters plugged into our harness, our little 40-inch extension. So real straightforward, simple. Working up towards the front on our fender lights, we are gonna do them underneath the fender here. Like I said, we've never had an issue doing that. On the Z900, it's still got lights, so does the Grom. So we're gonna do this, and our wire will go to the back, and we will run the wire with the brake line to get up. Okay, so we're gonna get this other fairing knocked out on the other side, and then we will come back and show you where we're at with the front end. Okay, so I just want to show you guys where we're at on this other side, because this other side is a little bit different. So after looking at things a little further, there's a lot of heat shielding on this side. You have the header pipe that runs towards this side, and then you have your radiator lines. So you have the radiator coolant line and the overflow line that run this side. So we're limited to where we can run our wiring. So we are able to get 2 lights. One, I'll show you what this looks like after I take it off the bike here real quick. But you have one light that's up here, up along the top. Okay, that's going to be one of our 9-inch. And then we have the one, just like we did on the other side, down by the shroud that goes in front of the radiator. You can see how it's all lit up down here. And what we've done is we've ran one of the 40-inch extensions along here. So it's along this foam pad, which will get covered by the gas tank cover, along here. And everything's going to plug in right here. This is also where we are going to plug in any of the lights that we put up in the front end of the bike. So you see we have a 3-way splitter right there, and we have one extra little plug right here, and then our fairing is plugged in right there. So these are just going to sit here. We can turn the handlebars full tilt left and right. Nothing's getting pinched or bound up. So that's just how it's going to have to be on this side. You're just going to have to get creative with your process. You know, take all the plastics off, look at everything really close, make sure you understand where all the heat is, and obviously you don't want to melt nothing, you know, so just take your time. Like I said, this is a very universal kit that we've created to where you have everything you'll need, and usually more than that. Okay, so here's the right side fairing. You can see what I was talking about, the heat shield. You can see this burn mark. That is from the coolant line. It runs right across here. And right here, obviously, it gets really hot. We don't want to put nothing in that area. And then we have this other little slight burn mark right across here. That is the overflow return line right there. So, or overflow line. So we want to keep away from that. So we did find that we can get away with this one being up high like that. And then the one on the shroud that sticks in front of the radiator. And then all of our wiring is ran underneath of there, out of the way. It's coiled up down there and zip tied so they both come out to being the same length. And that'll plug into our splitter. So that's it. That's all we're going to do on this fairing, simply because anything down here is via the header pipe. So we wanted to do some lighting down here, but it's too close to that header. We don't want to melt them. You know, we want to do this once and not have to come back and do any repair work. So you're really going to have to just take your time. It's not hard to do, but it is time consuming. So just keep that in mind. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me and ask me. I'll try to answer things as best I can or point you in the right direction. We've done a lot of installs with this lighting kit and never had any issues with them. You just got to pay attention to what you're doing. Okay, so here's the progress that we have so far. We have lights that are installed. This is just kind of sitting on here so we can see how it looks. We have lights that are installed along inside of here. These are 9-inch LED strips that are coming in the kit. And they exit out right here. So they're going to be hidden under the seat. We'll zip tie all this up out of the way. So those ones go there. Then, like I said, we have that 40-inch extension that comes up along the frame up top here and comes down here. And we're using a 3-way splitter here. And then that 3-way splitter is going to be one of those being used to plug in the front end. And then the other one is going to be used to plug in this fairing that we were talking about. The way the front end is ran, it comes down here. There is a 2-way splitter, or excuse me, a 3-way splitter that we're going to use down here. So we have the light that's inside the fender here running along. It exits here, gets zip tied up with the brake line. The other one, same thing, comes over from the brake line. So they're both exiting on this one side where our brake line is. And then it gets plugged into a 3-way splitter right here. So we've coiled that up and out of the way. And you can see we have this one empty plug right here dangling down. So we have this one plug right here dangling down. That will be for the under tray right here that goes underneath the front headlight. So here's our piece that we're going to be using. We've cleaned that with our prep pad and then cleaned it with our primer. Warmed it up with the heat gun. We got it to stick down really good. This goes up underneath of here. You can kind of get the idea. Get this air hose out of the way. It's going to go up underneath here, and it sits kind of like that. It's way underneath there where you'll never see it standing around the bike. We're going to have an LED that lights up the entire top of the fender with this white and red high gloss color scheme. It's going to look really good. Especially if he goes with like a red underglow or a white underglow. This thing's really going to pop. Okay. Then here's what this other side looks like. See if I can get it on a color that you guys can see better. There you go. So you can see how much that lights up that fender area. And then all this. Okay. We have this stripe here. So that looks really cool. There's some light coming out of there because we put that light behind the gas tank cover. Okay. And we have our swing arm all lit up, so by the time this thing's done, it's going to light up the ground below it. The whole bike's going to be glowing and look really sharp. And a nice little touch, you know, they got these lights that are hidden up back here. So it's really going to pop. We want to leave all of our wires so there's no wires exposed, because that light is going to really light up this little triangle area back here. So, anyway, we'll carry on. When we come back, we should have it assembled. If we come across anything else, we'll jump over to that. Okay, we wanted to just kind of set everything up there. All this just kind of hanging on right now, just so we can get a good look at the profile of the lighting and make sure that we are lighting up around the entire bike. And you can see it's got a V shape to it. If you look at the ground from the front, going outward to the back. So it's going to look really awesome going down the road. Really excited about it. But that is what we have so far. So there's what it looks like. I did just set this piece. Obviously the fairings aren't put on there yet, but I wanted to give you guys a look at it so you guys can get an idea how it looks. If you guys are wondering about the screwdrivers up here, this is just to hold this whole front piece on, because we didn't actually need to take it all the way off. But once you unbolt the mirrors, everything's kind of just hanging. So you stick a couple screwdrivers through the holes, and you can hang this whole front fairing stay. Well, it hangs from that front fairing stay, but you can hang that whole front fairing from these and not worry about it falling down on you while you're working. Anyway, I just want to point that out because I know someone's going to ask what's up with the screwdrivers. Okay guys, so we got the bike all buttoned back up. You can see how it looks here. We're going to take it outside and get some shots here afterwards, so we'll roll like a little 1-minute clip at the end of the video here. But I just want to show you guys get a good idea how it looks. You can see it's lighting up the ground below the bike, right in front of the radiator, under the fender here. You can see how that looks. We got it strobing through the colors right there. So it came out really nice. You see below the swing arm. So like I said, we still have them on sale. I'll leave them on sale for a little while. They're $274.95 for the entire kit. Comes with everything you need. It'll come with more than what you need to get the job done. So depending on what bike you have, you'll be able to do the install. On this bike, what we had left over was a couple of the extensions and a couple of splitters, and we left out a 13-inch strip, and we left out one of the smaller 6-inch strips. So this has 14 LED strips on it. We hid them everywhere that we could. We probably could find a spot to hide them, but it's not really necessary. Everything is lit up the way we wanted it to be lit up. And everything is really stealthy, so everything is hidden. You don't see nothing. When these are off, you don't see any of the lights anywhere. When you're walking around this bike looking at it, you would never know that it has LEDs. And obviously you got your toggle switch right here. So I just turn it back on with the remote here. And you see that. Okay, so this is our toggle switch. It's on a memory, so when we flip that back on, everything comes back on the way it was. The toggle switch is on a ground switching system, so this is running to chassis ground and then to the battery. So if anything was ever to get, let's say something got hot and melted, you installed it in a hot spot and it got melted, the most that it can do is ground the battery to the chassis, which is already happening on the bike anyway. So it's not like it can melt anything. That's why we didn't go with a positive lead to here. So we tried to think everything through. We've gone by experience, what we've seen in the past and what we've seen happen working on bikes for this many years. And that's why we use a ground switch. So if anything does happen, the most that's going to happen is your lights are going to stay on or they're not going to turn back on, right? If you installed it near something hot, let's say the wire was up against the exhaust and you weren't paying attention, and that's what happened when you installed it. So what we've done here after our install, we let the bike sit here and run a couple of heat cycles, let it get hot, cool it down, check everything, make sure everything's still working, make sure no wires are touching anywhere, let it get hot again up to temp, come back and look everything over once again, just to make sure that we don't got to pull it apart again. And if we do need to pull it apart again, we want to do it right there on the spot. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Links in the description below. You can go purchase these. They'll work on your sport bike or your naked bike. Next coming out will be light kit for the Harley, for the bagger and non-bagger, and then a kit for the Honda Grom. So I'm Bill with BLR Tuning. Thanks for watching, you guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace. Okay guys, I wanted to sneak this little clip in here for you. We pulled the Z900 out. You can see we have it on the red setting with our stealth LED kit. And this is the same kit that we installed on the CBR 1000. Okay, so I have the light on right now so you guys can see the bikes. If I turn the light off, this is what it looks like. But what I wanted to show you is the remote is programmable. So all you do is turn the power off on the kill switch on the lights, flip the power on, and before 5 seconds, before you count to 5, you need to go A, B, and then you'll see the lights flash. That means that the remote is now programmed. So what I've done here is programmed this remote to work with both of these kits. So you can see there. So I'll go through the colors. We're just using this one remote. So a really cool feature, if you own multiple bikes, you could make each one of your remotes so it does all your bikes. So anyway, I just wanted to show that little feature to you, and I wanted to show you guys what the kit looks like. Naked bike, sport bike.
Never stop, I'll get it if I want it. Gotta make to myself a promise. I won't quit, keep going till I got it. I won't give up till I'm on top.
Yo, no, I ain't the type to give up. If I do something, man, I do it till I get what I want. I turn a business out of nothing into something I love. I got a poker face, but honestly, I'm not one to bluff. I flip a switch, never miss, man, I always stay up. Don't let them see you, bitch, always have a plan to stay tough. This life ahead of you ain't easy, it was built to be rough. But that's what makes a personality, is tragedy, bruh. So keep your head on your shoulders. Now we ain't out here moving rocks, we out here moving boulders. Now we ain't getting posterized, we out here making posters. And we ain't got nothing to hide, we move forward like soldiers. You better wake up for the pay stub, or you'll pay up. Don't make love to the game, bruh, fuck the game up. Change up, rearrange stuff to your greatness. Famous for the way up, play the game, bruh.
Never